gift offerings that our neighboring provinces, the likes of Northwest, have to offer. But plans change in a matter of minutes. So I hope that you took full advantage of the long weekend and you got out the house and got to do some interesting things and really just rested, conscious rest, real rest, where you're able to switch off from all your problems and you're able to put away your laptop and put aside the work and just focus in being in the moment with your loved ones. And of course, now we're ushering in a brand new week and you can use all of that rejuvenated self to focus on the tasks at hand. We've got a lot coming up on this Monday show. We're talking around an opinion piece that was written in the Daily Maverick by Glenda Daniels, who's an associate professor of media studies at Wits University. And we're looking at some of the stats that have come out on the back of the elections. The fact that only 18% of women expert voices were heard in media during South Africa's election season. And there's been a slight decline. Well, a slight decline, a couple of percent decline in as far as that representation is concerned. So we'll find out what are the factors driving that. Also, because it's Monday, we're looking at revamping your CV, especially for those of you who are unemployed and seeking new job opportunities. We're going to be catching up with an HR manager, find out some tips maybe that you can use in order to make your CV a little bit more attractive, and some of the things that you should be wary of, especially with more and more HR systems now deploying AI to help them weed through CVs and those initial submissions. So we'll find out more about that. On the other side of two, what are the Olympics teaching us about leadership? It's wrapping up. We're in the final stretch of the Olympics. What are they teaching us about leadership? And then joining us is the newly crowned Miss South Africa, Mia LaRue, is going to be with us in studio from 2:30. That is how we're going to wrap up the show today on a super high positive note. South Africa has taken inclusivity to a whole nother level, is what some critics, well, some analysts rather, is what some analysts have been saying, a positive step to our inclusivity conversation in the country. 086 000 2032 and 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line.
Hi, my name is Kamogelo and I'm a lifesaver. Through a chance encounter with the DKMS Africa team at a nearby mall, I decided to register to become a stem cell donor and potentially give someone else a second chance at life. Every life is precious, and after I was made aware that I could give someone else a second chance at life, all it took to register was 3 swabs, a quick and easy process. You too could be a potential lifesaver in the making. Register to become a stem cell donor at dkmsafrica.org.
SABC Sport, the proud broadcaster of the Olympic Games Paris 2024, celebrates Team SA medalists.
South Africa 26, Australia 19. The bronze medal for South Africa from Paris 2024.
Olympic medal is very, very special, and sometimes you only realize it a year or two afterwards. I'm really grateful for our players that they could call themselves Olympic medalists.
For the love of the game.
SAFM is celebrating its 88th birthday, and what better way to celebrate than with you, our loyal listener. We will be giving away 8,800 to 10 lucky listeners during the month of August. To stand a chance of winning, stay tuned to SAFM and SMS the keyword SAFM88 followed by your name to 41391 and listen to the station throughout the day where you could be selected as a winner. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on this fine Monday afternoon on SAFM as we lead the conversation with Glenda Daniels, who's the Associate Producer of Media Studies at Wits University, as well as Senef Gauteng's convener And we're taking a look at Glenda's opinion piece that featured in the Daily Maverick. You can go and peruse the piece for yourself. It is unacceptable that only 18% of women expert voices were heard in media during elections. It's a concerning statistic. 18% of voices during the election period belonged to female experts, according to Media Monitoring Africa's research that was done in July 2024 on media in the 2024 national election. Glenda, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Bridget. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it. Firstly, maybe let's start off by asking what prompted you to write on the lack of women's voices in the media during the last national election.
Well, because number one, the research has just come out by MMA, and number two, it's Women's Month. So it's a time to remind people about what the state of gender equity and parity is like. And, of course, I'm a media columnist. So, the three went together, that the research just came up, that it's 18%, and that, I do media analysis. And obviously, I'm a feminist, so I watch out for trends regarding women and what's happening, given the fact that we know that 51% of this country's population, in fact, are women. So we don't need 51% of experts being women, but we need to keep track of the fact that there actually are a lot of experts who are women that can give opinion and expert opinion on the various sectors in society.
Yeah.
And, why is it that it's not happening? So if you write about it, speak out, you actually just enabling the culture of sexism is my logic.
Absolutely. 18% is a concerning number, and considering the fact that it's actually down from what you write from the previous elections where it stood at 21, 22%. What are some of the factors that are sort of contributing to this trend, which obviously is looking like it's slumping downwards versus it improving?
Well, I think it's about awareness, conscientization. We get slack and complacent about certain things. You mustn't forget, in the first parliament, a democratic parliament in South Africa, there were 50% of MPs. So everyone is very conscious of inclusion, diversity, plurality of voice, and so forth. And then there we go, 30 years into democracy, and people are slack and forgetful and not aware. So there are a whole lot of those factors. Another factor is, as I was saying in the Daily Maverick piece, is the fact of the anti-feminist backlash, which means women gain entry into what were once traditional male spaces, then they get a backlash, or clap, as we say, in our slang in South Africa. In other words, go back to your place. So sometimes it's not deliberate, and sometimes it's deliberate, and we can't work out which one it is. In other words, if you just go into your contact books all the time, and the first name that comes up is some you're a man and some man well, then that's how it works. The same old network of old boys clubs tend to perpetuate itself.
And I guess in part also from what I'm hearing is that there's a complacency that happens, right? There's a complacency that happens in our media spaces, for instance, that if gone unchecked, it just continues this cycle. Is there a way of deploying some kind of systems check that the media could use to ensure that these numbers the representation numbers are changing and more reflective of the voices of society?
Absolutely. So one of the systems checks one can do is when one's writing a story, when it goes to the sub-editors, etc., sub-editors could say, but have you contacted more people? The story could have 5 sources. It doesn't have to have 1 or 2. And we could also have, like in the first part of South Africa, there was the Little Black Book. There were black experts in there. And that's how more black names got out into the media. Now, Quota Woman Plus is doing a book on women experts, and newsrooms should actually be getting that book, a printed version, and news editors then should actually be pointing out to a journalist. But actually there's that woman doctor and that woman psychologist, just by a quick flip up page, you get to P, psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever, whichever sector, whether it's the energy sector, they are actually energy women experts. So it's just to get some kind of diversity in rather than the same old. And also, it's all urban-based. Our media relies on the voices that are already known. What about voices that are not known? Out there in different communities that have different perspectives on things.
Yeah.
It shouldn't all be Joburg-based or Cape Town, Durban, the usual people and the usual places. We really need to make our media more diverse and more inclusive.
Absolutely. And as you're talking, I wonder, though, is because complacency really translates to laziness. Does one really, as you're talking, I was just taking a snap, and I'm not a journalist by any stretch of the imagination, but I was just taking a snap of my team here and some of the teams at SAFM and thinking, besides the fact that we are an all-female team, there's a consciousness in planning the show where myself even, you challenge certain things and you go, but we've had that person on the show 6-7 times. Or surely there's a female, or surely there's someone of color, or is there someone else who can represent this conversation over and above the people that we hear, and not relying on a book that's already been compiled for us, but the curiosity, the questioning of saying, there must be someone else.
Oh, Tom Jones, Tom Dlamini.
Yes.
We've had him before. He always says yes. So let's have Tom Dlamini again. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, because he'll answer his phone and because he will come on air, so we call him again. So that's the kind of mentality that goes on in media. She'll answer her phone, therefore we'll have her. But what about somebody else in the media? It mustn't always be the same people and the same experts the whole time. And that's how you're getting more voice. And you're getting different perspectives, because people have lost a lot of faith in mainstream media, and also, because they feel that mainstream media don't question things enough. There aren't different perspectives. It's the same mainstream perspective. So when you're looking for alternative views, you must look for alternative voices.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the female representation, I mean, there was an outcry. I saw, a few threads on Twitter during the elections, a few noted female voices observing this, saying, but where are the female voices? And not only did it just lack in the sense of, analysts and opinionists, but also from the political perspective, people started questioning, going, do political parties not have female leaders who are able to step up to the plate and be part of these conversations?
Well, precisely. You're absolutely right, Bridget. And I think that's why one has to write these things. It's about shouting about it, pointing it out, speaking out about it. If we don't, we're going to backslide into a very retrogressive, patriarchal, normative society. It's about political representation. We have 1 or 2 women leaders. It's really backslid from 30 years ago, when we had the new democracy. And then in terms of voices who are analyzing the elections, likewise. And then in terms of voice of women represented in the media on elections, we see it was Helen Ziller, and she came in at 3%. So there's another 80, and she is the loudest voice of any woman politician.
Can't be ignored.
No, impossible to ignore. And, is that what the media and society needs for everyone to be shouty about this? Or can they not take stock and take note themselves and do it? You know what I mean? It's a matter of making a conscious effort. Otherwise, we think things naturalize themselves. It doesn't happen that way because the default position in society is male. It is patriarchy. So it doesn't just happen. It's like the argument about capitalism and the drip down effect. The more capitalism is enhanced and is allowed to go wild, somehow the poor people will get rich. Well, we know it doesn't happen like that.
Absolutely. 086 000 2032 is our live studio number. 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp if you'd like to share your perspective on this piece that is featured on the Daily Maverick, questioning the representation of women and female voices across media during the elections. You are more than welcome to do so. Maybe you observed differently, or maybe you think that perhaps women should be a bit more pushy and a bit more shouty, as Glenda refers to, in order for them to be heard and seen on platforms. Feel free to share your perspective. Let's take a quick pause for Otisile to come through and let us know what's coming up on the news headlines.
And in the headlines at 1:30, the Home Affairs Minister, Leon Schreiber, says he will provide an update regarding the alleged identity fraud involving the mother of a former Miss South Africa contestant as soon as information is available. The department is investigating the identity of Chidima Adesina following a social media outcry that she could be Nigerian. Service delivery in the city of Tshwane will be delayed and some businesses will remain closed at least until the ongoing protest action occurring at Eersterust, east of Pretoria, is contained. It's still not clear what caused the protest. And retired cell phone data analyst Lambertus Steyn is back on the witness stand in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, which is underway in the High Court in Pretoria. Details at 2 o'clock.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Utsile, we will see you at 2 o'clock. I just got shaded by my producers. Yes, it's in. Yeah, we can never win the tribal dynamics in the studio, I tell you. We continue our conversation with Glenda Daniels, who's the associate professor, of media studies at Wits University and is a SANF Gauteng convener. 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086 000 2032 is the number that you can call us on. She wrote the opinion piece in the Daily Maverick questioning the lack of female voices in the last national elections. Only 18% overall were female voice representation across media houses. That number dropping from the last national elections, where representation was around 21 to 22%. Now, the global average is 24%. So, already it's not as though it's a very balanced representation, but it would be nice in the context of South Africa, considering that we have 51% female representation, to also see more female voices being represented across media platforms. We'd love to know your take and your perspective on this, and you're more than welcome to share on 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086 000 2032 is the number that you can call us on if you have a perspective. Maybe you think from where you were sitting, your vantage point, you actually saw a fair share of females being represented by way of analysts, by way of opinion makers and thought leaders during the national elections, and by way of political representation as well. Maybe from your vantage point, you saw plenty female representation and you think there's no need to increase that number. Or you also, similarly think that, maybe we need to be a little bit more conscious and a little bit more inclusive and diversify the voices and representation that we see when it comes to certain conversations. We'd love to hear from you on that. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. Barbara Ayisi joins me now, Senior HR and Talent Manager for, is it Surgeon Solar? Barbara, how are you doing today?
Hi, good, thank you. It's Sejan Solar.
Sejan, and my mind wanted to go there and then it abandoned that thought. Thank you for being in conversation with us. We appreciate the time. And we're switching gears just a little bit. We are talking around revamping your CV and how crucial that is, especially considering the unemployment numbers in the country. So many young people out there seeking employment opportunities. And you are the right person to do that. Let's start with the obvious question. I mean, it's doing a CV is not something that's necessarily taught in high school or in varsity as to how you do it. I remember our guidance teacher giving us a structure many years ago, but that's very different from the real life paper that you must present.
Yes, no, that's very correct. And I think the first thing before you even start writing your CV is to know that somebody is going to read it, right? So put your CV down and think about the eyes of the recruiter who will be reading it, and they don't have time. So there's a number of CVs that they would have received for one job, and you want yours to stand out. And thinking of the limited time that they have for a CV. So when I look at a CV, I want to quickly see exactly what I want to see, which is the skills that talks to the role that I'm looking for.
Yeah. So let me understand this, Barbara. As you're saying, well-crafted and something that stands out immediately. I then wonder, does that mean that your CV shouldn't be a cookie cutter? What you send to Barbara shouldn't be necessarily what you are sending to Bridget, or it can be the same thing, just tailored different?
It can be the same but tailored different. So before you send out that CV, look at what the job description is saying, right? And make sure that what the skills that you've actually documented on the CV is speaking to the job, because that is what the recruiter will be looking to see. So it can be the same in terms of the format, the chronological, what your skills are, experience, etc. But make sure that it is talking to the job description. And it's standing out in terms of the skills that have been documented there.
Yeah. I want to, because I know when we have these conversations, young people turn up the radio a little bit more and they stand with their pens and they want, the example, the illustration. So when we talk about the skills must talk to the specific job spec, maybe can you give us just a little example of what is meant by that?
Okay, so firstly, it's about the company that you've worked for, right? So the name of the company you've worked for. And you can put in brackets the industry, right? So if it's the renewable energy industry, or if it's the financial services, etc., if it's not that obvious. Yeah. Okay. And then you put your job title. So what title did you hold in the job? And importantly is the duration. So when your start and your end date, because sometimes I see CVs where it's all, you can't really tell when they were in that company specifically. So please take that start and end date and then go into the description. So what did you do? Your outputs. What did you do when you were in that role? Don't make it too long-winded. Just state of, so for example, if you were involved in recruitment, so sourcing of CVs, interviewing candidates, finalizing the recruitment process, the administration of it, etc. So those key skills or outputs that you performed in that company. So state that. Another important thing is start with the most recent job first. Yeah. Because that would most likely be the most relevant that you would be applying for. So don't start with when you came out of university, your first job. Yes. Start with the most recent. Yes.
I've actually seen that, Barbara, because people share, right? There's consultants and CV consultants and all kinds of people on social media who promise to rejig, rework people's CVs. And people will sometimes share their CVs. And I've often wondered, wait, why are you starting from 2010? And they don't work chronologically backwards from present till they work the other way around. And I go, you're taking the long route of context to get to the point.
Exactly. And remember what I said initially, time. There are a number of, hundreds of CVs that a recruiter would have received. They want to just shortlist quickly. So pick those CVs that stand out in terms of the skills. So they're looking for those key skills that are matching to the CV. And that's why it's important to then tailor your CV to the job that you are applying for. Also, let the CV look good. There's modern templates to use. So don't stick to those old CV templates that we used to have many years ago. Fresh, the fonts, just Google and get a template that is really modern and fresh. And again, you don't know who is on the other side reading your CV, so don't put in too many colors, unless if you're a graphic designer or somebody in marketing. But otherwise, keep it a bit, neutral, a light blue, very, very light colors, so that you don't offend anyone that is the recruiter that is on the other side.
I didn't even know you could send a colorful CV. Let's talk about also, when we talk about relevant skills and, people always say, a lot of the experts we'd have on the show talk about upskilling yourself for the job that you want, or reskilling yourself for the job that you want. Now, when we talk about that and aligning that to current industries, what should people consider in as far as that is concerned, and what that looks like on a CV?
Okay, so it could be something, so not formal qualifications per se, but maybe it's something that you've researched about. That you've learned about. So it could be something like a Udemy course, for example, that you would do to upskill yourself. So, for example, if the role is requiring, let's say, a BCom, which is a formal qualification, what would make yours be that one extra or one up from the next person who also has a BCom? Would be maybe an extra course that you've done, maybe in AI, that shows that you are actually interested in that particular topic or subject or area. So do keep on upskilling yourself. Whether it's, as I said, something short, a short course in Udemy, or even an article that you've read. Just show that one up interest than the other person who you would be competing against. And even when you engage, it would take just 5 minutes. So in an interview, for example, it would just take 5 minutes to pick up whether you actually have a genuine interest in that area, whether it's the industry or it's in where the skill that you are presenting yourself in. Yeah.
I'm glad you bring up AI. There's that discourse you see it on X a lot about HR systems now incorporating more AI, and people saying some of the formats the HR systems don't recognize, and so they boot those applications. Is there truth to that? And, what kind of mistakes are people making where that is concerned?
So, yes, there is truth in that. So there's some algorithms. Excuse if it's not exactly that, but they build in certain key words that is when the CV is submitted, they actually pick up those key words that they want to see reflecting in your experience. Okay. So if they don't pick up those keywords, then that is an easy way for your CV then to be declined, because they don't pick up those key skills that they want from your experience.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, going back to have a look at the job description. I know it is time-consuming to tailor your CV on an ongoing basis, but it's so important to reflect, to link to what the job description requires, because that's those algorithms that they build in to check if you've actually got those skills is how they then match. So if they're looking for, so for example, content marketing, and you've applied and you haven't put in that you've been involved in content marketing, for example, then automatically you're looking for content marketing, and if they don't pick that up from your CV, then your CV is then rejected. And these are all ways that they make it quicker to shortlist candidates versus reading every CV.
I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? Because if we're optimizing technology, then essentially you are going to put SEO, search engine optimization, to your systems. So it makes perfect sense. So just read every single spec for what it is, and then readjust your CV accordingly, or rewording it. I mean, it's the same information, you're just tailoring it so that it speaks to the job spec, and also the system's then able to pick it up correct. So we're not saying go and lie now if you're not a marketer, and then you say you're a marketer. We're just saying tailor it for yourself. A quick question here. Someone just sent me a quick question. It might seem elementary, but it's worth asking because someone else might be thinking. They wanted to know, must they not put a photo on their CV because they've heard that sometimes you get prejudiced by having your photo?
Put a photo, but put a professional photo.
Not that one that Bridget took of you willy-nilly with a bad light against the garage door.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you don't have a professional photo, rather leave it out. But if you have a nice professional photo, I'll encourage you to do that.
And a professional photo, guys, if you're listening, go look up a nice corporate headshots. There's actually a lot of the younger photographers. When we're being shady, we refer to them as Instagram photographers who shoot really nice head shoulder portraits. Corporate portrait photographs. And you put on your best looking professional outfit, minimal makeup. You're not going to the club. Minimal makeup.
Definitely.
You're not going to the club, and you take a lovely picture where you look warm and inviting also. Don't look like you're running away from paying your rent.
Definitely.
Okay. It seems like small things, but it's small things that, as you say, to a recruiter that's quickly just flipping through hundreds, if not thousands of physical CVs, it could make all the difference, because also from your photo, it tells me how seriously you take yourself about the position that you're applying for.
Exactly. And remember, the end result of this is to actually get you in front of the recruiter for an interview. And you won't be given a chance if your CV doesn't represent what the recruiter wants to see. So you want to get yourself in front of the recruiter to sell yourself in the interview.
Let's talk quickly in our last few minutes, Barbara, about, because I think we've covered the touch points for the paper CV, keeping it concise and relevant, showcasing your achievements, updating the format, the design. Before we get to the being in front of the recruiter, personal statements, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And what should be in that personal statement?
Personal statement is a good thing, but not the one page that I've seen people write.
Okay.
So a full statement. One paragraph is enough, just highlighting key, graduated in 2021, maybe something special like we mentioned in terms of a special interest. In that. Don't go into your character and in a team player and, listing all that, but just a one paragraph, almost like a summary statement of you, something that is catchy enough to pique the interest of the person that is actually reading it.
Okay, summary statement of you, your professional self. All right. Yes. And then in our last 2 minutes, Barbara, Once the algorithm and the AI have accepted your application online, then you get to sit in front of Barbara. The biggest mistake that people make when sitting in for those initial interviews with yourself that stop them from even making it to the next round?
Okay, so I think firstly, first impressions last, right? So be on time for your interview, whether it's online or face-to-face, be on time. Online, I would say 5 minutes is sufficient to just get on. But before you do that, make sure that you've tested your mic, etc., quiet room, etc. Attending a physical interview, I'll say 15 minutes. Get there 15 minutes before time. Be professionally dressed, okay? But research the company, because you don't also want to be overly professionally dressed when it's an engineering firm and they're all wearing jeans and very, very relaxed. But even when they are relaxed, yes, you can go in a pair of jeans, but maybe put a proper shoe on and maybe just throw a jacket on top. So be almost like a semi. Between too formal and too relaxed. So get to know the company, okay, and get to know the interviewers. I mean, thank God for social media now. Just find out who will be interviewing you, okay, and just do a little research on who you'll be sitting in front. The company, you'll definitely be asked about the company. And as a recruiter or the recruitment person within the company, they want to know that you have a genuine interest in the company that you are interviewing with. And maybe at that time you really just want a job and it doesn't really matter which company, but you need to show them that you're actually interested in their company.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Barbara Ayisi, thank you so much for the time. And Barbara is a senior HR and talent manager. It's 10 to 2 o'clock. It's time for us to get into Kids Corner.
Paying your TV license means that you can tune in to the Expresso Morning Show from 6 to 9 a.m. Mondays to Fridays right here on S3. Enjoy our entertainment, recipes, and important current affairs and updates. All of this for less than 74 cents a day or 265 Rand for an entire year. For superfast, secure, and convenient payment from any device, go onto tvlrc.co.za and click on the Fast Pay button for payment in under 3 minutes. Make a difference with Expresso and TV licenses and pay yours.
SABC Sport, the proud broadcaster of the Olympic Games Paris 2024, celebrates Team SA medalists.
South Africa 26, Australia 19. The bronze medal for South Africa from Paris 2024.
Olympic medal is very, very special, and sometimes you only realize it a year or two afterwards. I'm really grateful for our players that they could call themselves Olympic medalists.
For the love of the game.
SAFM is celebrating its 88th birthday, and what better way to celebrate than with you, our loyal listener. We will be giving away 8,800 to 10 lucky listeners during the month of August. To stand a chance of winning, stay tuned to SAFM and SMS the keyword SAFM88 followed by your name to 41391 and listen to the station throughout the day where you could be selected as a winner. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello everyone, I'm Mushfiqat Tale. When it comes to choosing outfits for myself, I take care of that. And yes, I have the freedom to choose what I want to wear. It just has to be appropriate and suitable for wherever I'm going out to. My style when it comes to clothing is more of streetwear, and that's what's comfortable and enjoyable for me to wear. When picking out your own clothes, you should consider comfortability and make sure that it's clothing that you feel your best in. You should also consider things like the weather and the place that you are going to. If you are going to a wedding, for example, or a special event, then casual or fancy clothing would be the best. All in all, it's all about you and how you feel and what you choose to wear. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
My name is Lebanzi Shangwane, and I always pick out my own clothes in the morning, and I always choose what I want to wear. My favorite fashion sense or style is baggy clothes. I really enjoy wearing anything baggy. I don't really enjoy wearing things that are tight. I don't know why. I've just never liked it. So I have opted to wear baggy clothes because they make me feel comfortable and I just love the way they look on me. So yeah, I just love baggy clothes. I think some things that you should consider definitely with your outfits is definitely the weather. I've seen so many people wear like crop tops and it's like freezing cold outside. So I think definitely consider the weather. Also, go with your mood. You know, sometimes the outfit doesn't look good because of how you feel or how you feel in it. So if you feel beautiful in that outfit, people are going to see it as beautiful. But if you feel ugh in that outfit, people are going to see it as ugh. So I think always consider your outfits on the weather and on your mood.
My name is Carlos and my surname is Maina. I choose my clothes with my dad and he always chooses nice, beautiful and comfortable clothes. I love all my clothes because they are beautiful. My dad actually has fashion and he knows when clothes have the right fabric or not, which is good because you can actually just take any clothing in the shop and buy it. But then when you put it on, it tears. So that is the reason checking fabric is good. And it's also smart, not just good. So check before you take. And some people would go back to the shop and start complaining. But do you know whose fault it is? It is actually the parent or the person who bought it. And it's also the shop's fault because why would you sell clothes with bad fabric? But we must also be smart as well and check for ourselves.
Hello, my name is Ndamira. The person who helps me pick out my clothes in the morning is my mom. But not always. I sometimes pick out the clothes I want to wear. I enjoy wearing colorful clothes because I think they lighten up my mood and they stand out. When someone is picking out their clothes, they must consider the weather conditions and they must also consider the kinds of places they are going to.
Hello, my name is Potamachete and I'm 12 years old. I choose my own clothes. It makes me feel like I can make good decisions on my own. When I pick my own clothes, I go for both comfort and to look nice.
Yes, I choose my own clothes. It makes me feel mature and myself. Honestly, I choose both. For example, when I'm shopping, I look for looks. Then when I try it on and if it's not comfortable, I take it back. Thank you.
Hi friends, and happy Monday. Today we are going to explore how to manage your wardrobe effectively. Think of your wardrobe as your personal toolkit, filled with outfits that let you showcase your personality and prepare you for whatever comes your way. When you take charge of your wardrobe, you make daily choices about what to wear. It may seem straightforward, but it's a significant step towards being responsible. By selecting your clothes, you're honoring your decision-making skills, which will be valuable throughout your life. One of the first things to consider when picking your outfit is the occasion. Different events require different attires. For instance, you wouldn't wear the same outfit to a birthday celebration as you would to school or a sports game. By recognizing what's suitable to each occasion, you demonstrate respect for the event and those attending. It's similar to wearing your school uniform. It shows you are prepared to learn and be part of the school community. Another key factor is choosing your clothes in the weather. If it's chilly outside, layering up will keep you warm. On hot days, lighter clothing will keep you feeling comfortable. Dressing appropriately for the weather is not just about comfort. It's also important for your health. By making these choices, you're proving that you can take care of yourself and adjust to various situations. Modesty is also an important consideration when selecting your outfits. Dressing modestly means wearing clothes that respectfully cover your body. This doesn't mean you can't be fashionable or express yourself. It simply involves thinking about how your clothing affects others and what it says about you. Dressing modestly reflects your self-respect and consideration for those around you. Taking charge of your wardrobe goes beyond just choosing clothes. It's about making thoughtful decisions that show your sense of responsibility and understanding what's appropriate for different situations. It involves making choices that reflect your sense of responsibility, recognizing what's appropriate for various occasions, and dressing in a manner that honors both yourself and those around you. In doing so, you're not just putting on clothes, you're maturing and demonstrating your readiness to embrace great responsibilities. This will also help you save time, since there won't be any morning arguments with your parents about wearing clothes that aren't suitable for the weather. That's it for today. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives. SA Women Struggles Journal. #Women's Month. Celebrating 30 years of democracy towards women's development. SAFM celebrates the power, resilience, and brilliance of women. It's Women's Month, and we're honoring the incredible contributions of women in our communities, our workplaces, and our homes. Join SAFM in recognizing the achievements, strengths, and spirit of women everywhere. Let's uplift and empower each other today and every day. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.6 FM in Mangaung.
Essential cover from Outsurance pays out claims in cash, allowing you to choose your own panel beater. SMS car to 43187 now.
Top stories at 2 o'clock. Home Affairs investigations into Adetshina's mother continue, and service delivery delayed in the city of Tshwane due to protests. Good afternoon. Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber says he will provide an update regarding the alleged identity fraud involving the mother of a former Miss South Africa contestant as soon as information is available. The department is investigating the identity of Chidimma Adetshina following a social media outcry that she could be Nigerian. An investigation has revealed that Adetshina's mother may have committed identity fraud nearly 23 years ago. Ahead of the pageant on Saturday, Adetshina withdrew from it. Schreiber has told SABC News that he does not want to divulge any information that could hamper the probe.
We don't only want to be seen to be doing the right thing. We must actually succeed. And for that to happen, we need to have a watertight case in this matter and many others that we are dealing with, to make sure that we've got, if there is criminality to be found here, that we've got a case that can be won.
Meanwhile, Schreiber again emphasized that the best way to curb fraud and corruption at the Department of Home Affairs is to digitalize the system.
We need to conclude this investigation in a comprehensive manner to make sure that when we have our final findings and any action that may flow out of that we're not found wanting in terms of the legal process or what is required, that we're continuing to pursue this matter with urgency, really because it is a case study of the deficiencies. And I hope that we can move the conversation towards that solution, which is really where we need to go and say paper-based human interactions is something that belongs in the 20th century. We're now in the 21st century.
Service delivery in the city of Tshwane will be delayed and some businesses will remain closed at least until the ongoing protest action occurring at Easterest east of Pretoria is contained. It's not clear what caused the protest. Protesters have blocked the roads and are throwing stones at those not taking part in the strike action. City of Tshwane spokesperson Lindela Mashiko says law enforcement has been deployed to monitor the situation.
Residents are informed that day-to-day municipal services such as power failures, waste collection, pipe leakages and sewer blockages will take time to be attended to due to the ongoing protest. The city has deployed Tshwane Metro Police to quell the chaos. The city respects the people's right to protest, but lawlessness, chaos, violence and intimidation will not be tolerated.
The bail hearing of two men accused of manufacturing and dealing in drugs is expected to resume today in the Groblersdal Magistrates Court in Limpopo. Frederick Buota and Simpiwe Kumalo were arrested at an illegal drug manufacturing laboratory in Groblersdal about 3 weeks ago. They were arrested together with 3 Mexican nationals. The 3 Mexican nationals abandoned their bail application last week. Apafani Munyai reports.
The Hawks busted and dismantled the laboratory, which they say is the largest they've ever discovered in the country. The laboratory was established in the middle of a dense bush at the foot of a mountain several kilometers outside Denelton. 4 years ago, a drug manufacturing laboratory was discovered at a game lodge near Mabul Hall, 28 kilometers from where the latest bust was made. Limpopo police authorities say Sikukune area has become a hotspot for illegal drug operation. Abafani Munyayi, SABC News, Polokwane.
Retired cell phone data analyst Lamberta Steyn is back on the witness stand in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, which is underway in the High Court in Pretoria. Steyn previously testified about 2 calls that were allegedly made between Meyiwa's former girlfriend, Kelly Kumalo, and one of the accused, Fisokuhle Ntuli. However, Vodacom's Pinky Vitalingham could not verify the 2 phone calls made prior to the murder of Meyiwa. This led to the defence saying evidence might have been manipulated. Dooley and 4 others are on trial for gunning down the Bafana Bafana captain in October 2014. Steyn says their program doesn't allow the manipulation of data.
It was put to Ms. Vitalingham that you have fabricated your evidence regarding these 2 calls that are set out in pages 23, 26 and 27.
Imported it into an AMB program. He will make linkages. He will tell us exactly that I did phone Advocate Beloy or I did phone someone else. Yeah. I then used the Analyst Notebook program to draw an Analyst Notebook chart of the information. So the conversion of the data does not involve the manipulation of the data.
And finally, the United Nations Secretary-General has expressed further alarm at the evolving situation in Al Fasher in Sudan's North Darfur region, where fierce fighting has been reported between the Sudanese armed forces, the Rapid Support Forces and elements of the armed struggle movements. In a statement, the spokesperson to UN Chief Antonio Guterres said the clashes were having devastating consequences of the civilian population while exacerbating humanitarian needs at a time when famine conditions were confirmed in the Zamzam camp south of Al Fasher and likely in other displacement sites in the city. Showan Bryce Peace reports.
The SGS called on all parties to abide by their obligations under international humanitarian law to protect and allow safe passage for civilians and facilitate rapid and unimpeded humanitarian access. Guterres further reiterated his call for an immediate cessation of hostilities and a lasting ceasefire.
Recapping the top story, Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber says he will provide an update regarding the alleged identity fraud involving the mother of a former Miss South Africa contestant as soon as information is available. Headlines at 2:30.
And that's the news for this hour. Theft, accident and 1 million rand liability cover, all covered by Outsurance Essential. Get a quote today. SMS CAR to 43187. Your own panel beater is like your loyal childhood friend. Been there through it all. You trust them. Outsurance gets it. And that's why with Outsurance Essential, your claim is paid out in cash to use your own panel beater. Also, get up to 1 million rand liability cover and other great benefits at a low cost. Outsurance Essential is priced for cars older than 5 years and valued under 125,000 and not financed. SMS CAR to 43187. 187 or call 08600 60,000. That's 08600 60,000 today. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and, of course, registered FSP. T's and C's do apply.
20 outfits of the Premier League are back on the battlefield for another spectacular season, with ambitions to play the world's most competitive and compelling football.
Rodri! City 3! West Ham 1!
This is the massive fight for the ultimate glory.
Caicedo, is he going to try and beat him from inside his own arm? Oh, Moises Caicedo! I can't believe it! What a way to score your first Chelsea goal!
Experience the 2024-2025 Premier League season on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Live on SABC3 and at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Also available on sabcsport.com. #We love it here. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game. Big ups to all the women of Africa Dzonga. Incredible characters in various fields. When you set your mind onto something, your winning mentality is difficult to defeat, on and off the field. Your excellence in the world of sport speaks volumes. You are the great inspiration to the nation. Happy Women's Month, courtesy of SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
SAFM is celebrating its 88th birthday, and what better way to celebrate than with you, our loyal listener. We will be giving away 8,800 to 10 lucky listeners during the month of August. To stand a chance of winning, stay tuned to SAFM and SMS the keyword SAFM88 followed by your name to 41391 and listen to the station throughout the day, where you could be selected as a winner. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
On the day it was a Sunday, it took my breath away. And I will go to every hammer that day. But I hope to see her someday. Please believe me when I say, in this hour life, you're my honey. You're the only one I beg of. Santa Simon, Claylas, Mommy, Sunless, like the sun. On the day it was a Sunday. Back, it took my breath away. And I'm a booty every hammer that day. But I hope to see her someday. Please believe me when I say, in the summer life, you're my honey. You're the only one I beg of. Santa Simon, Claylas, Mommy, Sunless, Sunny Sunday. Sun sister with beautiful black eyes. Johnny she calls me every time when she smiles. Educated black sister with a conscious mind. Even though I say so myself, she's my time. It's really clear, pretty much like a mama's fear. Using nothing but to put the back of enemies. Mashiva, I'm done, young Bandiza. Perform system, banging it down in these Amaraxis of leader. Masuma, Ayosa, Caesar, Kamusiga, Gandala, Kavanu, Caesar. Yaisa, Hamba, Didays, a chili cafe. Cantuana on the day it was a Sunday. But put the back, it took my breath away. In my booty, every hammer that day. But I hope to see her someday. Please believe me when I say, in the summer life, you're my honey. You're the only one I've ever known, yeah. Santa Simon, Go for la
luku suku olofana lola suku mde unomkhitha wayavela mthatha lo mfana ndamphiwa nguye uSomani efaki panama yakhe yamafana mnyama ndasiva kutsala mpande yandichama ndaxelela umama waxelela utata nosungu sizoshada nalo mfana wandichama Mankale zinza zise kama kubutle watsubane la kusita oh ya blenda lewe desvela now ya raima lewe sashile lwandle kodwa bendigo together
Molo tando sana chala Tando nami tati please ungasabi Molo tando sana Bunjani love one Ningi tando nami Molo tando sana Bunjani love one Ningi tando nami tati please Send it to Molo tando sana Tando nami tata please ungasabi Anjalo ndikupinga njalo Tando samselezi oyam ndikutando Although bathi mplome kasila masaiko Marubana te alukutando Yeso weto Kubalo nditeta ngayikamu nolutando Kumama wabatwana bamba zaku nikusapo Nomdana lonu vele pa Wamakumalo Any what
It is The Soil in live performance. Sunday Live is the name of that track. And in fact, we had Buhlemendalo here last month for a full access, and we had a lovely conversation. It is available on podcast. We spoke around everything, her departure from the group and what influenced that, as well as her spiritual journey, journey towards finding herself, motherhood, the future, and everything in between. And then we woke out on, was it last week Friday? We woke out on last week Friday, and or was it Kwekwezi? I think it was having the Friday jam afternoon sessions. And they were preparing for something downstairs. So the guys preparing for their performance downstairs. And I wondered to myself, I'm sure they must miss her. I'm sure they must miss performing together. I think, though, that there are moments where they do probably come together as a collective for special performances here and there, right? As we get into another conversation now with Anya van Berg, who is a talent strategist, leadership and HR expert, as well as an executive coach. And we're looking at the Olympics and what the Olympics teach us about leadership. So we've just had the very best by way of athletes and sportsmen coming through to compete in all the glory for all of their national pride and unity. And we've seen some incredible feats of endurance. I will agree with you there, Anya. And we've seen some moments that really just, I think, moments that really put the spark back in humanity, moments that really have you believing again in our collective humanity. How are you doing this afternoon?
Hi, Bridget. How lovely to talk to you this afternoon. And you said it so beautifully, that sparks back to humanity. Because, I mean, when you think of Olympics, it's all about the, as you said, the endurance. But what about the other side? Yeah, but I'm well this afternoon. How about you?
I'm great, thank you. And your piece and observation is on exactly that. Trying to get us to see what the Olympics teach us about leadership, and maybe that should be our gateway into the conversation. What lessons, might we have observed from the Paris Olympics?
Yeah, and I think, Bridget, there might be so many different lessons, but the 5 that stood out for me was lessons around empathy, lessons around kindness, lessons about self-awareness and insecurities, but also looking at how do we lift one another up. And I think the most important one for me is lessons about running your own race.
And very important, I think, all of those touch points that you talk about. Let's delve and examine them a little bit closer. When we talk around empathy, probably something that's missing quite a bit in society right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think whenever we think of empathy, we do need to remember it's such a critical component, especially if you think of something like emotional maturity. And as you said, all of us needs to be emotional mature in everyday life, irrelevant if it's in the personal or in your professional capacity. But even more so when you think of being a manager, being a leader, leading teams, and I want to say being responsible for their successes and their careers. And obviously it's not in your hands, but you have such an important part as a manager and leader to play. And I think that is where empathy comes into play, because often people think of the empathy side where we feel what someone else is feeling, and that's absolutely true. But also then looking at it from a cognitive side to say, but I do understand your viewpoint. And I think in corporate and in the world of work, that is critical.
You make an example of South African sprinter Wade van Niekerk, who won gold at Rio 2016. And you make an example of how he spoke about the competitors in his race. Let's look at that a little bit. What was in what he said and how he said it that could be borrowed by those in different spheres?
Yeah, there's 2 things I think that stood out for me. He mentioned about understanding the trials that everyone is going through. And I think for me, the touch point there would be genuine concern. So when we talk about understanding empathy, it's that a little bit of authenticity shining through, really being concerned about someone else's well-being. But I think the second one that comes into play for me is that skill about listening. And often we talk about active listening. So when someone is, in that moment of just connecting with you, exchanging a few words, you might ask the question, how are you doing? Are you literally active listening in that moment and really focusing on the individual in front of you? So often what I see happen is people, might ask a question and then they respond, but you're not actually even listening to understand. You're listening to respond, or you're not taking that moment to show genuine concern about getting what they're going through, having that little bit of compassion.
We live in a society, Anya, where we're always on the defense. We're always on the defense. You see it, and you see it with our engagements on social media. And to some degree, I think that reflects also the kind of energies and attitudes that we take into various spaces of our lives, professional and personal. And we're always on the defensive, to your point around not listening to understand, not listening to try and put yourself in someone else's shoes, but you're already armed with your rebuttal and how you're going to get your point and your perspective across.
Absolutely. And I think when we then draw it back to the world of work or the workplaces, that's where we as leaders need to build an environment where people feel supported. And that regular check-in, it might be weekly, it might be monthly, depending on what works for you and the team. But it's really to get an understanding, not only from a work perspective, but also touching what are some of the challenges and specifically aspirations that the team members have from a personal perspective.
Let's look at the other quality that you say the Olympics teach us, and that's that of kindness.
Yeah, and I think the one of kindness links so nicely back to the one of empathy, but it's a little bit different because I mean it's when someone perhaps had a disappointment. I mean there were so many clips where we saw one athlete stumble and perhaps fall, or where someone you could see was in pain, and just the kindness that was shown by one another. I think it's those heartwarming moments where even though they're competitors, they still understand supporting one another, and bringing in that little bit of kindness is so important.
There's actually a wonderful clip, and I don't know if you saw it. I think it was the women's handball team. I'm not too sure at what stage of the competition they were in, but a Brazilian player makes her way across the field to go help her opponent who suffered some kind of leg injury. And, her medical staff were trying to just carry her in shoulder and have her limp across. And the Brazilian player literally rushed across the field and just scooped her up in her arms and just powered through and carried her to the other side to the medical team. And I just thought it's just such a wonderful display of what you're talking about, kindness, and also understanding that if I was in her shoes as a player, I'm already in pain. I just want to get to the other side, but also a part of me probably wants the game to continue for my team. So let me just go help quickly and get it to the other side. It was such a wonderful moment.
Oh, and I'm getting goosebumps because I think it's like you said, that moment of not focusing on self, but focusing on someone else that's in need of help or even pain, as you mentioned, and just show a little bit of kindness.
Self-awareness. When you talk about self-awareness, because I think there's been good lessons to the Olympics, past and present, and there's been some hard lessons in what not to do. And I chuckle when you bring up self-awareness, because I think of, and I don't know if you were watching the sprinting sessions this past week, I think of American runner Noah Lyles, who was one of the top favorites. It didn't matter which country you were supporting. He was just one of the guys that captivated you. But his persona and his attitude increasingly became so off-putting that now the narrative on social media has changed around him, because people go, well, you don't have a sense of self-awareness or a sense of sportsmanship. You're a sore loser. You an alleged liar. Everything about you now it doesn't deserve to be celebrated, even though you've got a gold medal.
Yeah, no, I'm smiling because I did not see that specific race that you were referring to, but my husband did. And as you said, he actually made a comment of, as he, exit from the background into that exact moment that you are referring to. And I think, as you said, that moment of being self-aware and perhaps even being humble, even though you might be the number one favorite, but still have that humbleness. Yeah, and I think that is where Tatiana Smith is such a beautiful example of self-awareness, and even perhaps touching a little bit on that insecurity side where she's vulnerable enough to say, you know what, in the previous Olympics, I'm a world record holder, and this time it was a gold and silver for her. And even hers, saying, yes, there's moments where I doubt myself and I need to focus on keeping that positive mindset. And we would never, ever expect that, being so vulnerable if they're a world champ.
Yeah, so true. And there's so many beautiful examples of that kind of spirit. Simone Biles, American Simone Biles, you watch her build up from Tokyo Olympics, the previous Tokyo Olympics, where she really couldn't complete the journey. She couldn't complete the campaign, had to bow out because she was dealing with a lot psychologically, mentally, and mental health is most important above all else. And so came back this time around with a point to prove to herself, a point to prove to her critics as well, but also, like you say, similar like Tatiana, understanding that even though I'm in this moment to come and take everything, literally everything that is gold, I'm still going to be humble in my victories and still going to be a human in my victories and still present that vulnerability to say it takes a lot to get you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, Bridget, you've mentioned that her journey, and once again, that, as you said, vulnerability of just owning up about the issues, let's call them mental health or the mental well-being at that point with the previous Olympics. And then, what moment for me was fantastic is when she came second with a women Olympic floor event.
Yes.
And at the ceremony, when she and her American colleague actually bowed to the winner, who's actually a rival. But I mean, for me, that was just magical. I mean, I think it was 0.33.
Yes.
The point difference. So it was so close, but still saying, I'm bowing, I'm giving you the moment, acknowledge what you've worked for. And I think that is just beautiful to see that spirit.
And how do we take that into our professional setting? How do we lose with grace but still learn even in the losses?
Yeah, I think there's actually two things that comes to mind for me. The first one is for leaders and managers to focus on small wins. So what is it that I can give recognition or acknowledgement for that might not be a big win, but it might be just the way that you addressed the scenario with a colleague, or the way that you showed up in a challenging meeting where clients were shouting at you, whatever small win it might be. That on the one side. And then on the other side is to encourage people to give recognition and acknowledge one another. I mean, I'm going to give you an example, very practical. Let's have a kudo wall somewhere in the office, perhaps at the back of the wall, at the back of the door, wherever, and just allowing one another the opportunity to recognize. So it's a form of public recognition. It's not formal in a meeting. It's just I can put a post-it note there saying, well done. I think what you've done is an amazing job. And you must, I actually did a similar exercise with a group of ladies on Thursday, part of Women's Day event. And we did something very similar in the session to say, okay, it's your opportunity to lift one another up and let's give a genuine compliment of what you've seen them done. And you must have seen the faces, and you mentioned energy beforehand, but you must see the energy in the room. When we just take a moment and give encouragement and recognition for someone else. Another practice that comes to mind for me, Bridget, would be mentoring, where we support and partner people so that you can actually, whatever you've learned in your journey, share that with a younger or perhaps a more inexperienced co-worker.
Absolutely. Anya van Beck, thank you so much for the time today. That was Anya, who's a talent strategist, leader and HR expert, and of course an executive coach. So I hope as you watch the last final weeks of the Olympics, you are able to extract some of those lessons that can be used in your leadership role. It's gone 2:30. It's time to catch up with the headline news.
Thanks, Bridget. Good afternoon. Former personal assistant to the then Free State Premier Ace Magashule, Moradi Cholota, who's the 17th accused in the asbestos removal project scandal, believes the state wants to punish her for providing evidence that wasn't satisfactory to them. Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber says he will provide an update regarding the alleged identity fraud involving the mother of a former Miss South Africa contestant as soon as information is available. And the leader of a Kenyan cult is on trial for manslaughter over the deaths of more than 400 of his followers. Paul Mackenzie and dozens of other suspects are also facing charges of terrorism, murder, kidnapping and child torture linked to the discovery of mass graves in a forest. Details at 3 o'clock.
Catch the Tastemaster Junior this Tuesday evening at 7 on SABC2. Contestants are taken on a flavor journey and must work in teams to bake a colorful, multi-layered cake inspired by the smooth vibes of a tropical island. Featuring special guest judges Mimi and Holly from Baking with the Rays. That's the Tastemaster Junior, Tuesdays at 7, repeat Wednesdays at 1 and Sundays at 4 p.m. Only on SABC2.
SABC SABC Sport, the proud broadcaster of the Olympic Games Paris 2024, celebrates Team SA medalists.
Alan Hatherley of South Africa, as he steps up to receive the bronze medal at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. He is the first South African medal in cycling since 1912. Rudolph Lewis won the individual time trial. Congratulations, Alan Hatherley. Your country is proud of you.
For the love of the game.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
It is the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM, as we literally welcome in Miss SA. Mia LaRue is joining us in studio this afternoon. We're talking all things Miss South Africa. Oh, look at that fabulous crown.
It's beautiful.
All things Miss SA. Before you go, Ange, please can you situate Mia's mic? No, the microphone. The microphone. Lift it up nice and high. There we go. Lovely. Perfect. Just drop it a little bit. There we go. Lovely. I swear, it's as if my team. Oh, hold on. Actually, let me get that moment on camera, Mia. Let's do that again.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
I was just going to open this coat.
Okay. She's getting all settled, and she's like, it wasn't that cold today. Why are you wearing such a big coat?
Because have you been outside?
I have.
The wind is cold and it's blowing. But also, I can take it off for this.
Yes, look at you looking cute. Much better.
Thank
better.
you.
Okay, let's get that
Appreciate it.
moment again. Let's see.
Okay, let's
Oh,
go.
she's putting on the crown. If you are live streaming, it's a gorgeous crown. Oh, it's a beautiful crown. Lovely. Gorgeous. So nice.
Thank you.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for coming through. Appreciate it. How's the morning been?
Ooh, this morning has been busy. I've been having lots of interviews, but also it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah?
Like, I'm quite enjoying it. Both of my parents are journalists.
Uh-huh.
So, with my parents being journalists, I do know a little bit about the interview scene.
And you were prepared for it, right? Because every
Yes.
Miss South Africa is prepared for the day after.
Yes, I believe also you just have to be yourself and just speak from the heart.
Yes.
Like, they can prepare you as much as you want to, but you need to know what is going on inside.
Absolutely.
To be able to answer the questions.
Absolutely. Listen, answering the questions is not your problem. You are prepared for the questions. Did you get some sleep?
Yes! No! But it's okay. I am functioning, I am here, and I am ready. I'm not thinking about how much sleep I'm getting or not getting.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what I have to do, and I'm doing it.
I love it for you. I asked this question, so I'm not sure how much your team briefed you about coming on the show. So I've done Miss South Africa years ago, and I've presented it, and I've hosted it, and I've judged it, and I've done all the things. It's interesting, the fact that the girls never get to sleep after being crowned.
It is true. It is true. But I also believe when we did Crown Chasers, it also gave us a sneak peek in the life of being a Miss South Africa. So I believe we all, when we came back after Crown Chasers, we knew what we signed up for.
Yeah.
So we had time to prepare ourselves for that and understand, okay, you might not get a lot of sleep, but your purpose and your why has to be stronger than your fatigue.
Oh, I like that. Your purpose and your why have to be stronger than your fatigue.
Yes.
I'm going to write that somewhere. I'm going to use that as my mantra every day. Your purpose and your why have to be stronger than your fatigue.
Exactly.
I love it. Mia LaRue is joining us. She's made history as the first ever hard of hearing Miss South Africa, who's the reigning Queen 2024. She was crowned this past weekend, of course, on the back of a very glamorous affair at Times Square in Pretoria. And she joins a wonderful sisterhood consisting of some really incredible women. 28 years old and born in Sasolburg, Free State.
No.
Where's Sasolburg, Foot?
No, I am 29 years old. My birthday was during the whole journey. So beforehand, I was 28. And yes, I was born in Sasolburg in the Free State. And then when I was diagnosed with profound hearing loss and received my cochlear implant, we removed to Pretoria when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
So I can receive speech therapy where they taught me how to speak at a little school in Pretoria called the Karel de Tooy Center. And then when I was 5 years old, I moved back to Oudtshoorn, or I moved to Oudtshoorn. And I grew up there, and that is what I remember. I do remember a little bit about Pretoria and the school, but most of my roots are set in Oudtshoorn.
Okay, so you've literally not born, but raised in Oudtshoorn in the Western Cape.
Yes.
What is that like? Is that a small little town?
Yes, it's a small little town. It gets extremely hot. In the summer, it's like situated between mountains, and the mountains keeps all the heat inside. So yeah, everyone knows Oudtshoorn for being very hot, and also for all the ostriches. Everyone is sourcing their ostrich feathers from Oudtshoorn. So that is where you get them.
Oh, okay. Now I know. For my next gown, that's where I'm going. And I'll tell them that Mia sent me. She has all the hookups. A marketing manager, a model, and a part-time BCom marketing student. Is that still the same?
So I have put my studies on hold.
You can take the crown off now if it's heavy. Or you're enjoying it. Let me.
No, it's empowering me.
So you've completed your studies?
Yeah, so I have decided I will be putting my studies on hold just until I finish the year of my reign, as I believe this year is going to be full of opportunities, and I want to grab it with both hands and not spread myself too thin. I can always go back to studying, but there's only 1 year I can be Miss South Africa.
Yep.
And then with my job as well, I am still figuring that part out. I really do want to still help and build and grow where I am working, but that is something with time that I will figure out. Like, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
And then the modeling, I think with Miss South Africa, you have to be a model every single day.
Well, listen, if you jump on social media, after you won, it was so interesting to see people going, well, listen, when Mia goes to Miss World, we've got this, Miss Universe, we've got this in the bag because the face card is winning. So the face card definitely is winning.
Oh, thank you. That is very, very sweet. It's still a strange feeling every time someone says that to me. But I have learned just to say thank you so much for your kindness and not be like, no.
Yeah.
I just accept it. Thank you.
Have you not always accepted, or rather, have you not always been comfortable with being a beautiful girl? You are strikingly beautiful. I know it has nothing to do with you. Mom and Dad are listening, so they get all the credits. It's got nothing to do with you. But, you are a strikingly beautiful girl.
Oh, thank you so much. I actually, when I grew up, I did experience bullying. I was an emotional eater. I got overweight, so I have not always felt beautiful. I did have a very tough time during school and primary school with feeling beautiful. I felt very unworthy. I felt very ugly. And there is this line that I love that says, I know my worth, because I have felt my unworthiness. And I think when you have felt that level of I'm not beautiful, you never want to go back. So you fight for your own self-love. And your self-love comes from the inside. It's not about what you see on the outside. It's about knowing that you always are trying to be a good person. It's about when you get to bed at night and your head hits the pillow, that you know that you've done everything that you can do that day to be a good person. No one is perfect, but also that is when you give yourself grace.
I love it. Mia, we're going to take a quick ad break here. We're going to come back on the other side and continue our conversation with newly crowned Miss South Africa. Mia LaRue is joining us in studio. It is The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM.
Everyone is just as important as you are. Stop gender-based violence. Treat others the way you want to be treated. No one deserves any form of violence. Report gender-based violence. Contact Lifeline South Africa toll-free number on your mobile phone. Call or WhatsApp 0800 150 150. That's 0800 150 150. Lifeline South Africa. Mental and emotional health for all. This is an SABC-supported initiative.
SABC Sport, the proud broadcaster of the Olympic Games Paris 2024, celebrates Team SA medalists.
The Olympic medalist, Tatiana Smith, representing South Africa.
Tears of joy will certainly flow for Tatiana Smith.
Smith, silver.
I think this one is much different than any of my races. I'm so fortunate to get a medal.
For the love of the game.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
There we go. We are in conversation with Mia LaRue, and she's made history as our first ever hard of hearing Miss South Africa. Is that a term? Please, by the way, educate us, because we also a little bit uninformed and misinformed and a little ignorant for the most part, as myself, South Africans in general, because that was also part of the conversation this past weekend, were people trying to understand how do we then phrase your disability and your hearing impairment. What is the acceptable term for you that you are comfortable with us using?
No, I am comfortable with you calling me deaf. That is the truth. Like, I am a deaf woman. I have 100% hearing loss. If you do want to be a bit more sensitive on this subject, you can just say profound hearing loss.
Profound hearing loss.
Yes.
Okay. Profound hearing loss. And this is why we have the show. So 100% no hearing, born like that.
Yeah, so I have 100% no hearing. I wasn't born like that.
Okay.
We are not sure what made me deaf or why I got deaf. We just noticed when I went for a routine like testing that every little girl and boy goes through at the hospital. And the nurse were shaking like rattles behind my ears, and sometimes I was looking back, sometimes I wasn't, like turning around, and she noticed something is off. So she told my parents, or my mom, like, listen, I don't know, but your daughter might have hearing loss. It might be a good idea to get her tested. And my mom and my dad were like a little bit worried, and they took me for tests where they tested my brain waves in reaction to sound.
Okay.
And that is when the doctor confirmed, like, I'm sorry, but your daughter has profound hearing loss. And my parents were plunged into this world of the unknown. And they had no idea what to do, and they were stressed and scared. And I think it was much harder for them at that time.
How old were you then?
I was about 1 year.
Okay, a
1 year,
baby.
maybe a few months. I was very little. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
And the doctor advised my parents that I am a good candidate for a cochlear implant. So they researched it and they thought, okay, this is a great idea, but they did not have the funds or the means to like cover the funds or to pay for it. And then the community just rallied behind all of us to help raise funds. A little local cinema in Pretoria had, they got in Men in Black a week before it was supposed to be screened in South Africa. And then all the funds that were raised during the screening of Men in Black went towards my cochlear implant. And growing up, I always thought that Men in Black was made just for me. And I was very sad when I found out that was not true. And then I received the cochlear implant and I received speech therapy since I was 2 years old up to 5 to help me learn to speak and just how to form words. Like, I know I don't speak perfectly, but you are able to understand me, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, listen, babes, you speak perfectly enough.
Thank you.
You speak perfectly enough. We understand every single thing that you're saying. What an incredible story. But also what I love about it, Mia, is the sense of Ubuntu, right?
Yes,
your
100%.
entire town said, this is our baby girl and we're going to get this sorted.
Yes, like it was in Pretoria at the time. And everyone was just so helpful. Like, my parents said they've never experienced the spirit of Ubuntu like they did that time.
I love
and it's such a beautiful moment because it also gives you so much faith in this country in moments like that when the community just rallies behind someone when they don't have to.
Absolutely. Oh, I love everything I am hearing about this story. And you know what? You are perfect. You're perfect in every sense. We hear every word, every syllable, perfect in every sense. And I can imagine that the journey, though, wasn't easy for you, especially if you're a little girl, you've got profound hearing loss, you're 4 or 5, you're starting to be in creche and be with other children and needing to communicate with them. Do you have any recall at all about, just, and I don't know how far back your memories can go, but if you have any recall at all about those times in primary school and how you navigated your hearing loss then?
So when I was at the Cargo to Toy Center from age 2 to 5, it was absolutely beautiful, wonderful memories. Everyone around there was like me, so you felt included. And they put in so much effort to empower me and to educate me. But when I went to a mainstream school, since primary school to high school, it was tough at times. I always felt very excluded. I was very quiet, very shy. I didn't have a lot of confidence, struggled to believe in myself, because what people also do when they realize you are different, they will treat you like, oh, shame, like, poor you. And then it starts enabling victimhood. And I do believe that people can do better in that aspect and not enable victimhood, but make it lighthearted. Like, for example, if I say something wrong or hear something wrong, laugh with me, like, be joyful with me. Like, it doesn't always have to be a sad story. Like, yes, I might be different, but that's all it is. I'm different. I'm not less. I'm still beautiful.
Yeah. That you are. She got all shy as she said that. You still are. In fact, you're the most beautiful girl in the land. Beautiful inside and out. And what we love about your story as well is, and your win, what your win represents, right? Yes. And we saw when you won, there's so many people who came out, the likes of Nandi Madida, for instance, and so many other people, moms who were coming out on Twitter. And they were saying they feel as if their kids are being seen. They feel as if their kids are being seen, their kids are being heard, and they were in the moment of watching Miss SA with you. And some of their kids turned around and said, oh my goodness, like, I want to do this now. Like, this is what I want to do. What does that do to you as a young woman when you wake up in the morning and you realize that quite literally you have changed how a young person sees themselves and how a young person is from this day going to go out into the world and fully realize all of their dreams?
It makes me very emotional, I won't lie, because I know I've been that little girl and I know what she has felt like, and I know what it would have meant to me to have seen that. So it does make me very emotional when I see those posts or read those Twitters. And to me, that is very special, and it gives me so much fire. And so much fuel. That is why I'm not thinking about being tired. I'm like, I am living out my purpose. I'm living out my dream. And I am living out why I'm here. You know?
I know. Okay, I'm not going to let you cry.
Please don't.
Tears. It's happy tears, though, right? It's happy tears.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. No, absolutely. But, oh, man, it's a powerful story. And I think it's powerful not just for us, it's powerful for the world. It's powerful. People use representation. It's become a buzzword. But this is what is meant when people say to see myself in somebody is so important.
100%. Also, I believe I come from a very small community, but I believe when you are so different, I think every person who has felt different sees a small piece of themselves inside of you. And I am here to represent all of them. And to let their voice be heard and to help make tangible change within the country where I am able, and I'm so excited to take this year on.
Yeah. What do you want to do? Let's talk about the cool stuff. Let's talk about, what do you want to do? I'm always, so any young lady that has gone through my interview sessions will tell you, at some point I go, okay, put aside the Miss SA answer. Put aside, everything that you rehearsed. Tell me, what is the selfish dream? What is the selfish ambition for you? It's important.
I know, but also I can't steer away from who I truly am.
Yeah.
And I really, really am here to make a difference. And of course, I also want my life to change. Like, I have this dream of having my beautiful apartment with my dog that is medically trained. So when someone knocks on the door, the dog can let me know. And you just have a beautiful life. Like, I actually don't need a lot. I just want to have everything around me beautiful, like beautiful flowers. There's like a dog, and just travel and see beautiful destinations. But all of those things, as beautiful as it is, like the most beautiful thing is that I get to have this platform to make a change. And this is genuinely from the heart, like,
I can see the emotions.
Yeah.
I can see if you are live streaming and you're seeing this beautiful face, you can literally see Mia's eyes are welling up. They mustn't well up too much because, you still have a long day.
You have to be composed.
You have a long day. Never mind composure. You have a long day still ahead of you. But I believe you. And you're going to have a beautiful life. And can I advocate for a Pomeranian? When you get the dog, can it be a little fluffy Pomeranian? They need a lot of attention and they divas themselves, but but a beautiful dog nonetheless.
Yes.
A beautiful dog. How did you and the girls get through all of this? It's been a lot. You guys have been caught up in everything, and we won't get into it, but it obviously affected you guys while you were on camp at Miss SA and trying to get focused for this competition. How did you guys manage to just stay in the moment?
So first of all, what I would say, it was tough for us because it really does break down your walls to the point where you can't pretend. Like you become a very raw form of yourself, but that is also what allows them to see who you genuinely truly are. And I believe what got us through is the fact that we shared this experience.
Yeah.
Like, we were together 24/7, like all of us girls, and like at least I was like, at least she knows what I'm feeling, or I know what she is feeling. So just having that shared experience and having that unity between us. And we really had a very beautiful sisterhood.
Yeah.
Like, go look at the pictures. You will see it's evident.
That's a little bit of sass from me. I go, listen, go have a look. Let me see here. What are the folks saying? What am I supposed to ask? Okay. Oh, here's somebody who wants to know. Maybe you can point them in the right direction. Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss, and she wanted to know if you could recommend a school, or which school did you go to? I mean, you've said it twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I know her daughter has hearing loss, but does she have a cochlear implant or a hearing aid?
She didn't mention.
If she does have a cochlear implant or a hearing aid and she wants to learn to speak, absolutely Karel de Toey.
Okay.
Where I went, they are phenomenal.
And then Pretoria?
Yes, there is one in Pretoria and there's one in Cape Town.
Okay.
But if she doesn't, I'm sure you will find a way to reach me and I will let you know.
Yeah. Google is always, if you're listening to us, you didn't send a name, but Google is also another way. And there's reputable organizations that work with the deaf community that people can always reach out to, and they can point them in the right direction. I think because now you are the example, you are sitting there as this is what a dream realized. You're going to get that question a lot from moms and aunts and, and uncles and everybody. But how wonderful. I can't stop saying how wonderful it is.
That is okay.
But it really is wonderful. As we wrap it up, any message to those who supported you, your family? I mean, I know you spoke to them on the weekend already, but still, your parents. I don't know if you've got grandparents.
No, my grandparents are unfortunately not here with us anymore.
They're watching over
They haven't
you.
been for a very long time. But to my parents, I would love to say thank you. Thank you for always being so supportive and kind to me and not ever letting anything be too much for you. And always showing me love and standing up for me and fighting for my space at schools and being so relentless in your pursuit of creating a space for me and also instilling a sense within me of sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me because I really did need that. I needed that in order to be able to win in life and to overcome everything I did overcome. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Love you.
Oh, man. This is what we love. This is why we do the show. This is why we meet incredible person. Parents at times, and I know a lot of our listeners will say this, parents at times often feel like, I don't get thanked enough publicly. And you just did a wonderful job thanking them publicly, just recognizing them for their sacrifice and their love, their unending love for you and everything that they've done. Congratulations on this win.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
The face card is facing. The face card is facing.
Have you seen your face?
Well,
That is face card.
Thank you, my love. We cannot wait to see you at, the Miss Universe stage. We wish you the very best for that. And we wish you I'm going to talk to you before that. And we wish for you the very best for this upcoming year. I hope that it is everything the little girl in you envisioned and more. I hope you grab every opportunity that's thrown at you. I hope you bulldoze your way through every door that's still closed and assert yourself in every seat at every table and let your voice be heard for yourself, first and foremost, and for every other little girl who's ever felt othered. You are incredible.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for speaking into life.
Oh, absolutely. That was Miss South Africa, Mia LaRue. And it is time for us to make way for Ashraf Gada and his team. Yes, she is indeed our golden girl, as you'll keep saying on our WhatsApp line. We will see you tomorrow. Listen, we've started off the week with Miss South Africa. Where can we go from here? I don't know. Inshallah, God willing, we do it again.
Yeah, we can do this. It's been a long time coming. This deserves to grow. It's a great business. If they don't like it, someone else will. And fund me so I can expand. Maybe I can offer them shares. I need to retain equity for staff. It's going to be good for recruitment. Yeah.
Possible begins with that one great idea. When Telkom enables entrepreneurs to make their ingenuity a reality, we grow local economies. Telkom. Possible begins here.
SABC Sport, the proud broadcaster of the Olympic Games Paris 2024, celebrates Team SA medalists.
Alan Hatherley of South Africa, as he steps up to receive the bronze medal at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. He is the first South African medal in cycling since 1912. Rudolph Lewis won the individual time trial. Congratulations, Alan Hatherley. Your country is proud of you.
For the love of the game.
Top stories this hour. Makashule's former PA says she's being punished by the state, and Kenyan cult leader on trial for mass murder. Good afternoon. Former personal assistant to the then Free State Premier Ace Magashule, who is the 17th accused in the asbestos removal project scandal, believes the state wants to punish her for providing evidence that wasn't satisfactory to them. Moradi Cholota appeared before the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, where she has been charged with fraud, corruption and money laundering. The case is related to the 255 million rand asbestos